Hello, and welcome to Module 7. Now, as you see this week, you're not just looking at me, but you're actually looking at the course. And I really think this is important because this is the big week. This is the thing we've been building up to. It's your big project. So I want to make sure that you see where everything is so that you are in good shape in order to pass the course. Now, always make sure, as I'm sure you've been doing all term, go right in here to Module 7 Introduction, just to remind yourself of what you're going to be doing for this week. Basically, almost everything we're doing is working on that project. So with Module 7, you're going to be trying to explain how human and environmental systems are interconnected, how sustainable systems involve the balance between the social, economic, and environmental needs of the three pillars, as we've been talking about all term, and look at approaches to addressing sustainability issues, all within your final project. So we are turning in this final project. Have I mentioned it enough times yet? We're going to review all of the assignments that go into this project so that you better understand how they're all scaffolding. All of the discussions we've been having throughout the term are helping you create that final project. All of the written assignments have been helping you build up to that. So it really is helping you see all the parts, the interconnectedness of not only sustainability, but the interconnectedness of all of the different parts of this course. What should you do in order to succeed? Review the work that you've submitted already. That's going to help you address this. Look at the feedback that I've provided for you for the Module 3 project draft. That was your first draft. Any feedback that I have there, make sure you've addressed it and make sure you've updated it. Then you also want to be good at looking at your Module 5 project draft too. So that's everything within that whole project guide. So all of those questions should be answered, and that's going to help. Use the feedback that I have posted in order to update those sections or to improve those sections so that you are hopefully getting 100% on this final project. That's my goal. Look at the course map, see how everything fits together so that you can really have a good idea of what to do. Also, don't forget to use the library and academic support, and I'll show you links to those as well. Make sure you have somebody proofread your paper, whether it be somebody in our own academic support center, having you do it, or even a family member have you at least check. They can at least see if something doesn't make a lot of sense and help you with that. Although our academic support center is key for that because they could read and help proofread your entire assignment. Reach out to me, your instructor, if you have any questions or concerns. I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible because, again, I want you to succeed. Please do not wait until Sunday to start reaching out for those questions. A, I might be asleep by the time you start deciding to submit, or B, the Academic Support Center might be closed. So start early on in the week to start making sure you reach out. If we look at the glance, we have all of these different resources. Now let's move on to see what those resources are. We do need to make sure that you're looking at, again, the assignment instructions, as well as all of these places to go to help you out. Think of the happy face. You're submitting your big project. This is the big thing. This is going to make a big difference. You have been preparing for this the entire term, so I know you can start seeing how all of these things align. Make sure that you are following the rubric. Make sure you are following the template to help you keep everything organized and on track. And again, reach out to me, general discussion board, or via email if you have any questions. Remember the key concepts. The feedback is going to help you. I put that feedback there in order to make sure that you're improving your assignments and mostly improving for this final project. Make sure you're implementing it. If I said, please tell me more about, say, the three pillars, and you only included two, make sure that second pillar or that third pillar is actually in there as well. And make sure that you are doing your academics and your non-academics in order to create the best project possible. Use things like spell check, use things like Grammarly to make sure that you are perfecting your writing, because that is important too. That if you say, well, why does it matter this isn't an English class? Realize that writing a paper, doing a project is all about communicating. And if you have incorrect words, you're not going to be communicating as fully as you can. Also, think of all the resources. You need extra library resources. There you go. Research Shapiro Library is going to help you out. Library resources, we have the APA style guide. Make sure that your references are all properly formatted in APA guidelines, and you have in-text parenthetical citations as well. There's also a video, if you're more of a video person, on how to format papers in APA. There's also learning more about feedback and grades. So if you're saying, I don't know how to access my feedback and grades, hopefully you did already, but now you've got that chance to make sure you're getting all the feedback that I'm posting for you in the grade book so that you can better improve your assignment. And again, look at the course map again to see how those pieces fit together, to realize that while this seems like a huge project, in truth, you have all the pieces you need for this final project already created if you've been keeping up with the assignments. So you might just need to be pulling from maybe a discussion or maybe a previous assignment to pull that all in for your final project. And then you're going to be submitting the final paper. Now, remember to make sure you're following the project template. Make sure you are following the guidelines that are there. And remember, the guidelines and the rubric are right here. This is your submission page, but please don't just submit without double checking what those rubric guidelines are. So if we look at our guidelines and our rubric, I can pull right up here in a separate window. Takes a second, sorry. So the project guidelines, make sure that you are following those all, that you have answered all the questions that are being asked. Make sure that you are explaining how human and environmental systems are interconnected, explaining how sustainable systems balance social, economic, and environmental needs, and you analyze this approach. So just a reminder, these are the 3 scenarios that you have to have. This is just a short blurb on them. Make sure you're following one of those 3 scenarios, the business, the social justice, or the environmental quality. And based on that, make sure you're filling in that project template completely. That's part 1, part 2, and part 3. Again, remember, you've already answered these questions. You just need to improve what you've written before. With your final project, again, submit your completed final project for grading. If you are citing resources, make sure they're in there and they are in APA style. If you need a reminder of those scenario profiles, they're linked right here if that's for the full profile, not just the little short blurb above, but that's where you want to see the full profile and make sure you're addressing all of the things within that profile. Within the rubric, pay careful attention to these rubric. The sustainable practices. If you don't mention environmental systems, I can't give you any points for that. I have to give you the not evident for 0. I don't want to do that. I'd like to see everything in the exemplary area. So again, make sure that you're looking at the rubric and saying how many points each one is worth. You can see 7.5, the behavior, cultural biases. Go through and make sure, even if you have to outline form, to make sure you've got all these areas. Make sure each one of these questions is addressed in your final project so that I can give you those points for that. Again, remember, if you don't put in a section, like you don't mention cultural diversity, I can't give you anything other than a 0, and that's not the grade I want to be awarding. So please, I hope this helps remind you exactly what you need to do in order to finish your project. And I look forward to reading these final projects and moving on to the discussion and our final week next week. So again, if you have any questions, reach out either in the discussion board area or via email. I am here to help. Thank you, and I look forward to reading your project.